We'll wait for some time because today is Mahashivratri and happy Mahashivratri to you all.
Yeah, happy Mahashivratri.
I don't know how many of you are fasting, but भूखे पेट भजन न होई वैसा होने वाला है.
Eat less.
Good morning.
Good morning, Arunji. How are you?
God is kind.
Morning.
I'm doing great.
Fabulous. Good morning,
Hi,
Sagar.
Dr.
Good morning.
Krishna.
Okay, good morning, good morning, Pallavi ma'am.
Hi, Sagar.
Good morning, Riddhi. Good morning, Ravi Kiran. Good morning, Anirudh. Good morning, Sanskar.
Morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Srinivas. Yeah.
Hey, Anirudh,
Hey.
good to see you.
Hello, sir. Same here. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Pallavi Sankhe is our CEO, huh?
Yeah. Hello, ma'am.
Yes. Hello, Anirudh. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing
Anirudh is
good.
my, what do you say? He's my Shagird.
क्या बात है. Great. Anirudh, good to know. I hope you are going to learn something very interesting today.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
Sagar is Anirudh's brother-in-law.
Okay. Fabulous.
Yeah.
Hi, Sagar. Okay. I
I'm
think.
slowly getting my coterie in, actually.
Yeah. Should we wait a bit?
Yeah, I should. It's Sunday morning. People are slow a bit.
It's not just Sunday morning, it is also Mahashivratri today. One thing which we missed actually. Today is a fasting day. So
today we'll be all blessed by Lord Shiva. Hi, Vartika. Good morning.
Hi,
yes.
Arun. Good morning.
This meeting is being recorded.
The best day to study is today.
Yes.
It is a blessed day.
Right.
So AI is going to be blessed by Lord Shiva.
I hope it doesn't get blessed too much. Otherwise, we are going to be out.
No. We are blessed even more because he has been blessing us longer than AI.
Yes, definitely.
We can also say he created AI.
No.
Doctor, that's a deep thought.
Yeah,
That's a deep thought.
everything happens because of him.
Yes.
Yeah.
H-A-M in capital. Yeah. Or her baby.
Definitely.
Yeah, and if we could put the trio into action, Shiva, Ganesha, and Subramania Swami, then we have it.
Yes.
Subramania Swami is kind of dead now. You're
No,
talking
I
Lord Muruga? Lord
I meant
Muruga.
Lord Subramaniam.
Lord Muruga, okay.
Vel Murugan.
Vel Muruga.
Okay, meanwhile, we can just, get to know each other. So, Atharva, Aniruddha, Sanskar, Adhik, Srinivas, Sachin, it's a 1+.
Anirudh, introduce yourself.
Yeah, please. And if possible, please keep your, videos on. We would like to see the faces.
Yeah. We want to see young. I think it looks like Anirudh is wearing
maybe I will start by myself. Sorry for that. I could not turn on my video. Sorry for that. So I'm Sagar. So I'm working as a project security manager. It's a cybersecurity manager role for airbags department, working for Bosch. So it's been from software to system. I am working currently. For AI, is like currently we are in the learning phase. So we are just started like how prompting engineering has to be done. Yeah, we are in just initial stages. We don't know so much of AI, but yeah, just like to learn more about like how the more deeper part of the AI. So that's what I think. Yeah, I need to go to it.
So, Sagar, we have already conducted 2 sessions on prompt engineering. Both are by Vartika, who is a prompt engineering expert. And we'll be putting in the links in the chat box very soon. And you can
Sure.
go and check out our YouTube channel, and you'll be finding both the webinars on prompt engineering by Vartika. You can go and check
Okay.
it out. I'm pretty sure that it'll add to a lot to your knowledge.
Yeah, definitely it will help me. Yeah.
Hello,
Sagar,
ma'am.
you must find a way to include us in your journey of learning AI.
And
To
I'd
me,
like to,
asking you, I mean asking me, is it?
Yes, Sagar.
Okay. So just a giving brief idea is like we had an hackathon.
Mm,
So we had to, prepare the robot which was using to be, which is in working model basically. So it's like the first time that I extensively used the AI. Then I come to understand like, okay, AI is something like not something we give and we get the output as it is, but we have to do the fine tuning. We have to find some sweet spot somewhere. So now I think that is what we need to understand, like prompt engineering, as you mentioned, like that is very important. That's what the aspect is like. And
mm,
also what I feel is like this database, where the database is coming and the data what we are feeding, that is very important to to process it. So that's what
absolutely.
that's what I understood currently. It's very short journey. I could not say like what I did something magically or some extraordinary things with the AI. But what I could say is like AI really helps me, or it is just helping hand like work like could be done generally possibly previously 8 hours it took. Now it is taking 1 or 2 hours with a better results. That's what I could
Mm.
say at least.
So you're getting to know the best of AI. Excellent. I wish you joy on your
Yeah,
further discovery of AI.
yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
now, yeah, great. So now, see, I think it's time to start our session. And before starting the session, let me tell you that this meeting is getting recorded, and it is my job to be telling you that it is getting recorded. Let me tell you a bit more about Curious Catalyst. So we are Curious Catalyst. We are ISO 9001 2015 corporate training house with focus on future of work. Our website and LinkedIn pages links will soon be in the chat box. Kindly, go and take a look. And welcome to our AI webinar series. So this webinar series is basically designed for business leaders and HR professionals seeking practical clarity on artificial intelligence in the workplace. Now, each session translates emerging AI trends into actionable insights for productivity, governance, and strategic advantage. Again, the YouTube link for other webinars is in the chat box. Now, this free webinar is going to explore the growing issue of AI hallucinations. I think last time we did say, what is the impact of AI hallucinations? We give a prompt and the answer is all wrong. Your chat GPT or your co-pilot is basically bluffing and you have no idea. So these are the instances where AI systems generate confident but correct or misleading outputs. And the session breaks down what AI hallucinations really are, why they occur, the different forms they take, and the risks they pose in the real world high stakes domains. Participants will also learn why humans tend to trust flawed AI outputs and what organizations must do to mitigate this risk responsibly. So over to you, Vartika. Vartika.
Hello. Yeah, hi, Pallavi. Hello, everyone. So, without further ado, I believe I should be starting the presentation, right? So, is my screen visible?
Not yet.
First of all, we will learn why actually learning AI hallucination is important. Now, we've already known that AI produces good results, and giving good prompts also produces very good results. But still, it does produce misleading and false results, and that is why we should understand why AI hallucination, why learning AI hallucination is important. Then, what is the difference between a human understanding and AI prediction. Basically, understanding word is wrong here because humans understand and AI predicts. So the difference between human understanding and AI prediction, what exactly AI hallucination is. Now, modern LLMs hallucinate differently than the initial stages hallucinations, but still they still predict and they still hallucinate. Then we'll understand the red flags, how we can consider that this is a hallucinated response, some red flags, what to do and how to ignore it, and how to mitigate it. Okay, so why understanding AI hallucination is important. So let's first talk about some actual facts. So we all know Google's parent company Alphabet, who lost $100 billion in market. The chatbot now has been renamed as Gemini. Okay, so it was first named as Bard, and it provided a promotional video wherein it claimed that the James Webb Space Telescope was the first to take pictures of an exoplanet. I don't remember the name, it is some 271. So it was the first to take the pictures of that exoplanet. But actually, it was European Southern Observatory's very large telescope in 2004 that took pictures, after which Google had to rebrand it as Gemini. So the application that we know Gemini is actually Bard, which was rebranded as Gemini. Then Air Canada had to pay fair difference, interest and tribunal fees. Now, what happened? There was a person called Maffort who wanted some discount, some bereavement fares. Now, what bereavement fares are? When you travel to a place due to somebody's death or some relatives, very close relatives' death, then you can apply for some discounts. So he wanted to know about bereavement fares. So he went to the AI Canada's website. On the chatbot, it asked about the fares. So the chatbot replied that it can be done retroactively within 90 days, meaning that you book the ticket, go to the flight, when you land, you will get some refund. So this was the output, that response that the chatbot gave. But in reality, Air Canada's policy was completely different. It was that you can, while you can book, only then you can apply. Otherwise, they will not give any discount. So this was also a hallucinated response. And the British Columbian Civil Resolution urged that this is wrong, and everything that is on your website or whatever AI publishes is your responsibility. So this is also an example of how actually AI hallucinated. Then this is very interesting. Google's AI overview, I believe everybody had seen that. It suggested that you can use non-toxic glue on pizza to stick the cheese. This also created a very much thing. Now, the bogus summer reading list for 2025. This is very recent, and Chicago Sun-Time readers found a summer reading list. Now, what it did, it created 15 titles associated with real authors, out of which only 15 titles were genuine. So this happens even today. Okay, now I would like you to imagine a situation, someone, a person, a junior colleague who wants to be helpful, who hates leaving tasks unfinished, and assumes that you know what you are asking for. That is, you are the source of truth for AI, for this junior assistant. Okay, so now what it will do is, if suppose it does not know a particular thing, if it has some missing gaps, it is not able to, put line by line, everything line by line, then what it will do, it will use assumptions, it will create assumptions, it will give unclear instructions, hidden assumptions, and there is pressure to deliver. That is why it just gives anything just anything. That is why the answers may be wrong, maybe falsy, incorrect, misleading. So when it just uses something to narrate, to give what you to give a response, then that something is known as hallucination. That is the gap which the AI does not understand about what you want, what the response you are expecting. That something is called hallucination when it has to deliver something. So now, humans understanding versus AI prediction. So humans, now consider your keyboard, um, this thing, autocomplete, keyboard autocomplete. So what happens is that suppose you type a word you will get 3 autocomplete words like sun, moon, stars. Okay, now you select sun. Okay, then you will get other 3, is, was, will. Okay, then you select something and then you will get other 3. So this is how this prediction works, and that is how AI actually predicts. So here we are predicting manually. Humans are selecting the word manually, but what AI does, it predicts and it already gives by itself. So humans rely on understanding, on their knowledge, and AI just predicts word. So it most likely word. So now here the AI has been trained on a set of patterns, okay, and according to that, whatever it sees most likely is, it just gives that as response. We will be seeing examples of that. And it always tries to complete the task. Okay, now humans know what they don't know. AI does not know what it does not know. It just simply uses patterns. It relies on its training data, and whatever is most likely it will give. It does not know what it does not know. But humans know. They can say, I don't know, or I have not had this experience. It is true or no, but AI does not know that. Now we'll consider scenarios. This is a real life scenario. So here, I have given the input to be or not to. Okay. Now there can be desired outcomes, like to be or not to be continued, to be or not to be encouraged, to be or not to be deployed, to be or not to exist. By the way, this statement is right. I have verified. So to be or not to exist is also a correct statement. Okay, so here, AI automatically assumed to be or not to be. Why? Because this is the most likely word, to be or not to be, and that was a quote from Hamlet by Shakespeare, by a play from Shakespeare. So it assumed that I am talking about Hamlet. Okay, it did not clarify what I'm talking about, why, what is this to be or not to. It did not clarify anything. It just gave me to be or not to be from the Shakespeare play Hamlet. So why? Because this was the most probable and most commonly used phrase. Okay, example 2. Now consider, okay, York is a company, by the way, in England. It's not just New York in US. York is also a city in England. By the way, Harry Potter is also filmed there. So a few scenes. So now I write something new about York, especially its financial district, Broadway style art scene, skyscrapers, and role as a global economic hub. Now, I am talking about York, not New York. So the answer that it is given is York, often shorthand for New York City. So it automatically assumed that I'm talking about New York City. It did not clarify why, because this is the most common thing that appears all the way. Every time you will hear New York, you will also hear York, which is shorthand for New York City. That is true. But it did not clarify because country like York also exists. It did not clarify. So this is actually hallucination. Okay, when you get factually wrong answer with high confidence. So it just corrected me that York is termed as New York. So it is giving me with high confidence and it is giving me a factually wrong answer. Or there's something that does not exist in reality but is presented as real, like we saw that those authors are correct, but the titles given were not existent, right? Reasoning sounds valid, but the context is wrong. Again, like the New York, narrative flow takes precedence over truth, meaning that it does not care about what truth is. It just have to continue the conversation. Just you type something, then it will continue, then it will continue. Okay,
But-
it just wants to continue or just story tell, right?
Pratika, on that slide you wrote that York is not New York City. You wrote that. Despite that, it has given you that answer. Go back. Go back. Yeah, you said York is city in England, not the US. Despite that, it gave you that hallucination.
Yeah, that is why it is called hallucination. No, that is what I'm saying, that you mean something else, but the it gives you the response is something different. That is why it is hallucination. Hallucination basically means when the AI gives you a false response.
Despite you saying that, despite you putting a kind of a disclaimer, kind of, like what he meant by York was.
No. I did not put a disclaimer. This is something
Okay.
for you to
This you didn't
understand.
put. This you
Yeah.
didn't put. York is okay. Okay.
Oh, okay. I'm really
Yeah.
sorry. But
No, no.
this is something I have written for you to understand,
Yeah,
not a
Thank you.
So it gives a factually wrong answer with high confidence, which and the entities which did not exist in real scenario, but as presented as real. Then reasoning sounds valid, but the context is wrong, like the previous slide. And the narrative flow takes place over the truth, meaning that it wants to continue. So why this happens? Because AI is not optimized for giving the most accurate answer. It has been optimized for producing the most likely continuation or the prediction. This forces the AI to give a response. So it has to give some response. It has been optimized for giving response, for being helpful, for giving answers. Okay, it is not optimized for giving the accurate, most correct answers. It has been optimized for giving
Formula bot.
continuation.
So what it was, guys, it's that you click on create, and let's say I will just name the GPT, close the chat.
Hello. Hello.
Mukherjee. I think you continue, Pratika, ma'am.
Continue. Somebody was chatting away. Now that's gone.
Okay. So yeah, I told you how this happens, like auto connect, or autocomplete. Then how modern AI, modern LLMs hallucinate. So nowadays things are different. Usually what used to happen, that AI used to create randomly, and we could understand it also created in basic things. So we could understand that this is a hallucinated response. But now the AI has been trained and updated a lot of times. So a lot of data has been included to it, and they have worked a lot on hallucination. So now the responses are very realistic, but still false. Why? Because it still predicts. It's not meant for accuracy even now. It is meant for prediction. So they have worked on mitigating hallucination, but they actually haven't been able to mitigate it. Why? Because it works on prediction. Now, here what happens? Nowadays, it starts correctly, but it deviates subtly. So you may think that we are going in the right direction, but it may flow somewhere else. You won't even understand that. Then it will also claim, it will also say that I have that these sources. Okay, I have visited 20 sources, but what it does, it does not do anything. It just mentions that I have visited the sources. It never access it. So
Really?
this is something that is very dangerous. Okay, so nowadays these hallucinations are very difficult to spot. They will even clarify things, but that clarification is just for the reference. It will predict, so it will still hallucinate.
The sources that come under perplexity, they are not visited by the AI, is it? Are you
It's
saying
not
that?
necessary. It's not necessary that it is not
Visiting
accept.
or not?
Yeah, when AI is hallucinating, I'm talking about then. Okay, it's not necessary that it
Goes to the
accesses.
source.
I'm sorry.
It goes to the source and then it gives the output. It's
It
not
does
that.
go to the sources. It
Okay.
does access them, but
Okay.
I'm talking about when AI hallucinates, then it might not go to the sources and access them, but just say that I have visited and this is from this particular source.
Okay, good.
Okay, so when does AI hallucination happens? So when there is some missing gap, something in between that AI did not understand, but still instead of asking for clarification or giving any assumption, it doesn't say I don't know, but in fact gives some response. So then when AI does not know anything but still gives response, that is when then this AI hallucination happens. Okay, when it assumes a question AI thinks you meant but you actually didn't, like the York example or to be or not to be example. When it thinks that you meant Hamlet but it gave you but you actually didn't. All right, so the red flags, what you should look out for. Overconfidence. AI gives answers very overconfidently, like the New York answer. That was overconfident answer. Then there are details that appear from nowhere. You haven't given those details. Maybe they do not even exist, but still they appear. Some names appear, some dates may appear, some research paper that never existed. It will still give you the date of that detail. So things appear from nowhere. Then interpretation is also presented as a fact, something, some opinion, or maybe somebody else's opinion, some blog post, somebody wrote something, some reviews, and it presented it as fact. That if suppose somebody gave a review 5 star to something, then it will produce it as a fact that this is a 5 star product. Okay, so it happens then. Over neat reasoning, yes. So when everything is aligning very logically, when there is no contradiction, no edge cases, then this can be like, suppose you've given some data and it did not ask for anything. It did not ask for any particular thing that is missing. Suppose you gave an Excel sheet, headers, and the values are different, and still it will give you a result. That is hallucination. Then ambiguity is resolved. So things happen that um, multiple interpretations exist, but the AI chooses only one, like to be or not to be from Hamlet. So there are multiple things, but it chooses by itself. Now, these are not exactly types of hallucination, but I've simplified it. So when AI explains something that exists only when is known, and when only what is known, but it explains that something exists, meaning that it over explains something when you do not have that much of information actually available, but still it explains a lot about it. That is over explanation. Then assumption based hallucination is that when you do not state something, but still it assumes the fact and gives you the response. That is assumption based hallucination. Now, when you say something, AI does not challenge it. And that is the reason this is called politeness hallucination. Why? Because AI treats you as the source of truth. So whatever you said, it will agree on that, and probably it does. So everybody would have seen that it will always reply with positive answers, and yes, you can do it, or this and this. So it will always give positive answers. So this is a politeness hallucination. Then it will give you generic fit answers that can be put in many different prompts, many different responses. So this is a generic fit answer. That is also a generic hallucination. Now, how we can mitigate it? Obviously, the language of communication with AI is prompts. So humans only communicate with the help of prompts. The only way we can eliminate hallucination from our end is writing good prompts. Now, not all prompts can help you mitigate hallucination, but there are specific prompts that the specific constraints that will help you mitigate hallucination. So AI can control what AI is not allowed to invent. Prompts can control what AI is not allowed to invent. Okay, so how prompts can do that? It will prompts, you can give a prompt that you are allowed to do this and you are not allowed to do this, or you can ignore this. This is how you can say. Then you should stop storytelling and you focus on accuracy. So be a specialist of something, not a storyteller. Then you can instruct the AI to stop at a particular place where you think that you will be giving a falsy answer. You can instruct to stop somewhere. You can give a special prompt that you have to stop somewhere. Then you can allow AI, allow or not allow that if there is no specific information provided or you have insufficient information, then you should tell me that, say that insufficient information. So I will also know that your response is based on assumptions or you do not have that much information. So I may provide you that information so that you will be able to give me a proper response. Okay. Then again, if some piece of info is missing, then please help me understand what is missing. Okay, then also tell me whether this particular part requires external verification. Okay, now how we can make such responses. Now, when we want AI to stop assuming things, assumption-free prompts, then what we can say that your task is to respond to the question below using only information explicitly stated in the input. Now you've given a specific rules to it. Sorry. Do not assume intent, purpose, cause, impact, or compliance. So here we are specifically mentioning do not assume these things. Do not infer missing details or fill the gaps. If the question depends on information not provided, then respond with cannot answer. Required information is not explicitly stated. So this should be your response. And then you provide the actual question, insert actual question. Then you can define the role. You are acting as a skeptical compliance reviewer, not a content generator. We've defined that who you are and who you not are. So not a content generator, but a skeptical compliance reviewer. Then task is review the information below and report only what is explicitly stated. Rules. Do not infer intent, effectiveness, or outcomes. Do not evaluate, praise, or criticize. Do not add examples or explanations. Can you please excuse me for a minute? I just need to drink some water.
Yeah, important. Stay hydrated.
So if a claim cannot be supported directly from the text, state not supported by the provided information. Then what you can do, explicitly stop condition, answer the question below only if it can be answered completely and accurately using the information provided. So now the stop condition is if answering requires assumptions, external facts, or inference beyond the given input, then stop immediately and respond with stopped, insufficient information to answer accurately. So you've confined it with this this condition that when you should stop. Then the rules: do not attempt partial answers, do not guess or approximate things, do not reframe the question to make it answerable. Then paste your question.
Because you're not well. Take a pause, no, Vartika, take a pause.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, so while Vartika is taking a mild pause, let me give our own example. So we do use AI quite a bit. Vartika, drink some water, relax a bit. Yeah. Uh, See, what happens is we have a lot of brushes with AI hallucinations because we are also into diversity, equity, inclusion. Not to mention also posh-based upbringing. Whenever we use AI for any kind of policy informations or laws or case laws, more often than not, if we don't write a correct prompt, usually it does give us very wrong answers, and it does it so blatantly, such
Professionally.
confidence. Yeah, yeah, so professionally, so confident uh, that when you go through the entire article or a blog, you will be like, oh my god, this is so well written. But then fact checking is always important, and that is where the cat gets out of the bag. So the moment you start checking it up, you will realize, oh, this particular case law never existed.
Yeah.
Okay, I imagine if it had been posted just like that. Right? So it is our job to educate people, and sometimes because of dearth of time, we might use AI, and this is what can happen. So the pitfalls are very real. Right. So as she has said, we have started telling AI that, see, you should not give wrong information. Please do not presume that I am correct, and please give a correct case law only and only if it does exist, if it is there in the Supreme Court. And the same thing has happened with the new labor codes. Like, for example, if you remember, there are 4 new labor codes which have come, and a lot of information is not really available. And the moment you ask, the kind of answers that it gives is amazing. Okay, so these are the real life things. Vartika, are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, okay, we can continue then.
So now you are providing a condition so that the AI focuses on accuracy and not on storytelling. So the task is to provide a response focused strictly on factual reporting, not narrative or explanation. So we are explicitly stating you don't have to narrate things or don't have to explain things, but what it requires is factual reporting. Do not tell a story, give background, or create a narrative flow. So you're not supposed to tell a story. You're not supposed to give any background. You're not supposed to narrate anything. You do not explain motivations, intent, or causes unless explicitly stated in the input. Do not use illustrative language, analogies, or examples. Use plain, neutral, factual language only. If the information cannot be stated factually, respond with cannot state this accurately based on the provided information. So here we are focusing completely on accuracy, no storytelling, no giving background, nothing narration. Now you can paste your question here. Then what else? Prompting, yes, of course, prompts can help mitigate hallucinations, but still you have to be cautious while asking for judgments. So AI hallucinates more when explaining, judging, and evaluating. For example, if you are giving some medical diagnostic conditions, it is not necessary that it will give you the correct answer. So you need to be very cautious if you are asking for judgment or analysis or evaluation, right? But hallucination happens less when it is summarizing something. Now, obviously, you've provided some data, it can summarize properly, but it does not mean that it will not hallucinate. It can, but it does hallucinate, but a little less. It can extract, reformat when hallucination happens less. It does not mean that it does not happen. Then separate data input from interpretation. So first you provide the data, then you ask for interpretation. What happens when you break down things into steps? Then first of all, you will be able to see each and every step. You know what you have given, you know what the response is. Now consider thing like BODMAS. Okay, you say 2 plus 5 plus 7 plus 9 minus 12 uh, into 15 into this. Okay, now probably if you're giving such a big data, I'm not saying that this happens. Suppose you're talking about BODMAS, and but what happens if you will provide the data according to the BODMAS? If you give of division and multiplication first, then it will obviously be able to give you correct answers, right? So you can have a check on which data you are receiving. You know what data you have provided. You know how correct or wrong this data is. Okay, so it is better that you give the data and then do not trust AI responses completely factually. These are basically just drafts. Do not consider them that they are accurate answers.
Good point.
So human judgment is actually needed, right? Then tell the AI where accuracy matters, right? Education, law, health, policy, these are things where you need to have accuracy. There was a point when in some case study I came across that it assumed different case studies. The person was studying for internship, and it studied all the wrong case studies. When he went to the exam, I don't know what must have happened. So it gave all the wrong case studies. So it is very important that you ask for accuracy. It's just say that this is very important. This has to be accurate. Okay. Then you ask for multiple perspectives. Now, suppose it has given you what assumption does this rely on, or what could be wrong here. Okay, so here you will be able to control the answer, then what it is relying on, or if it is, you will also know that if the assumption is wrong, then what to verify, right? So you will be able to understand what is wrong. Then this is how we can do it with prompts. But even good prompts does not mean that it eliminates hallucination. Okay, it is basically AI doing the work. We are just giving the prompts, right? So we can constrain it. We can give constraints to the responses, but we cannot eliminate it. So this is also a limitation. Then if you yourself have given a contaminated input, then no matter how good a prompt is, or how many restraints you have put, but still if your input is itself contaminated, then the response will also be contaminated. So AI might hallucinate that, because like I told you, that AI considers the data that you have given as a source of truth. So probably if your data was wrong, it will hallucinate and it will give you a wrong response. So therefore, prompting is a mitigation strategy and not a proof mechanism. So thank you so much. Well, I know that this was a very short slide, short presentation, but now I would like to ask that if people are interested in knowing how AI predicts the data, what tokens are, and if somebody is interested, then I would like to continue the technical slides. So please, either
Please go
speak
ahead.
up.
Please go ahead.
I would like to take a poll or something like how many people are interested.
Yeah, I think tokens, please talk about tokens.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now what actually how AI predicts. So now there is a human language, like suppose you wrote the word hallucination. What happens now that this word is broken down into tokens. These are text chunks. Tokens is the language. This is what LLMs do. They break down the words into text chunks. Okay, these are tokens. Then these tokens are converted into token IDs. They are numbers. Then these numbers are converted into binary, zeros and ones. So these token IDs and binary, they are internal processes, not meant for us. So what we are limited to is the conversion of human language word to tokens. So here tokens are, these are two tokens, nations and hallucine. So they appear at token prediction level. So what are tokens basically? Now consider this. This is suppose a data, okay? And here we can see red boxes, a number of red boxes is more, and number of purple boxes is also quite more. So the AI predicts, for the AI, this red token is most likely, this is one token. Purple also appears multiple times, so this is fairly likely, this is token 2. And all the other values, these are least, they don't appear much. So these are of least value tokens, but still they are tokens. Every single word is a token. So the red boxes they appear the most. So whenever AI gives a response, it is most likely that this red block will have a higher chance of appearing, then the purple one, and then the others. So now consider this hallucination word. Now here we see that nations is being used multiple times. We use nations like democratic nations, developed nation, poor nations, okay, United Nations. So we use nations a lot of times. So nations appears a multiple times. Therefore, it is a reusable chunk. It can be reused at many places. And now from this word, this halluci is a leftover. So halluci is another token. So tokens, so it is a token, although it does not appear multiple times, but still it is a token. So tokens are small chunks that do repeatedly appear in many different scenarios, many different places. So how frequently a word or a sentence appears is a token. They are meant for your efficiency. Now, let's see availability, unavailable, and decentralization. So consider this word available. This word appears multiple times. Now you can say that this can be avail and able and two tokens here, but that is not the fact because available appears more than avail and able. That is why this is one token. Then availability is like here, why these are two tokens. Available appears multiple times, and it also appears multiple times, like capability, desirability, or anything. So it also appears multiple times. Okay, available appears. So these are two tokens. Unavailable is also appears a lot of times, right? And available, obviously, it is also it appears many times. So that is why unavail and able are not three tokens. Un and available are two tokens. Here, decentralization. Now these are three tokens. Okay, ization also appears a lot of times, like decentralization, centralization, civilization. So ization is also appears a lot of times. Central also appears too many times, and D is the leftover. So these are three tokens. Now, suppose this prejudice. Here we can see that we can break these into three tokens: pre, JU, and dice, right? But this is not this. You can, as a human, you will understand this, that it can be broken down into pre, dice, and JU. But this is not what the AI sees. What AI sees is prejudice as is, because it appears a lot of times in law sense. Therefore, it is it is only one token. These are not three different tokens. So when you use a particular word, then it will whenever you use something, then it will AI will predict a next token. It's not predicting next word, it is predicting next token. Now, like for example here, availability is, it will predict the next token available, and then it will predict ITY. It's not going to predict availability as is. Unavailable, it's not going to predict unavailable as is. It will predict un and available, right? But here prejudice appears as a token once and many times, so it does not need to break it into pre and dice. Am I understandable till now?
Yes,
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 yes.
ma'am.
Okay, so how this predicts? So the user input is suppose twinkle, twinkle, little. So these are three tokens. Every single word counts as a token. Every single token is basically a word. So twinkle, twinkle, little, token 1, token 2, token 3. So now it goes through a process. So after token 1 is token 2, after token 2 is token 3, and after 3 it will predict the token 4. So the fourth token over here, it knows that this kind of a rhyme exists, and it has seen this as multiple times, so it will predict star, right? So this happens at prediction levels, how AI predicts things. And then the final response is twinkle, twinkle, little star. Probably you might be wanting something else, but star is the most appropriate according to AI, so it will predict star. So now why exactly we need tokens? So tokens are basically reusable chunks. What it can help with, it can optimize things. Okay, frequently used tokens, you don't have to visit back and consume that space. It takes space. It is a lot more technical. So it does take space. So it has broken down into chunks. Then it can predict token by token. So tokens are good for prediction and for optimization. Plus vector conversion, which is not the scope. I would not like to do this because I told you already that from tokens to token ID, that is internal process. So now I have finally finished my slides. If there are any questions, then do let me know and ask, please.
Okay, thank you, Vartika. Thank you, Pallavi ma'am.
Hey, thank you.
We can conclude, right?
Thank you, Vartika. Good. Now I will not hallucinate.
Okay, so are there any questions?
I think it was good, very good session, simple and sweet.
Thank you.
Okay, so can I leave? Can I take leave, Pallavi ma'am and Vartika ma'am? जाऊं
Yes,
क्या मैं?
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
sure.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Thanks
Yeah.
a lot, and waiting for your next
Session,
program.
yes. Yes, Shivraj, go ahead.
Thanks a lot for the presentation. I have a question like, how do you reduce the hallucination? Now, I understood that it's not a perfect way, but how do you minimize at least the hallucination with the prompts? Like, what kind of prompt you can write to minimize that?
Yeah, you can provide specific conditions, right? Do not provide any, do not guess any information. If you feel that some data is missing, then respond with I don't know, or you can give me when you are using an assumption, so I can directly verify. So you can directly write constraints that these are the things you should keep in mind while responding, or even after the response, you can ask AI about what assumptions did you make and so.
So, is there a defined way? Because this is like an endless possibility, right? Anyway, it will go about. So, is there any defined way? Like, these are the questions you write, and that should give
No.
you a much better. Because I had read somewhere that one way was mention ask it for a source.
Yeah,
Whenever you are it's giving a response, give a source also. So that reduces the chances of
yes,
hallucination.
that reduces the chance, but it's not necessary that if it is giving you the source, then it was giving you the correct source, number one. Number two, whether it has already accessed that source, is it's not sure that it has access. And sometimes what happens that suppose there is some other blog that only that particular article only exists at that blog, but that is wrong. So it will access that source and it will access the wrong information and give you a wrong information, right? So you cannot say and you are not going to visit each source. It gives you 20-25 sources access, but you're not going to visit whether it has given you correct information. Otherwise, what is the point asking AI? Just go and research, right? So it's you cannot be sure about that.
So based on your experience, like what kind of 3 to 4 lines, what you mentioned, any prompt that reduces, you feel like, or increases the probability of right answer? Is there any defined way or any kind of defined which you have managed to experience based on your experience?
Basically, we can communicate with AI only and only with prompts. So if you do not want something, you want AI to add something, you want AI to ignore something, you can only do it with the help of prompts. So you cannot train the AI by yourself, right? So you can only do it with AI. So that is the only remedy you can have is to stop AI from hallucinating at a particular condition.
Correct. So is there 3 to 4 questions which you usually write in every prompt? Because usually the way I write is like, first I believe that's the way usually they say, first allow it to become a particular person kind of thing. You give it a definition or that this is what you are, and then you are a renowned person, that increases the probability of getting a right answer. So is there a defined way of reducing all this hallucination? Or
See, if you want a lot of control over it, this is, I did not mean that you have to write these strict conditions. If you want a lot of control over it, like when you are using it for accuracy, you don't want it to, AI is not exactly, it is hallucinating every time. Hallucinations happen when there is some missing data. If you yourself think that some data is missing, then you can ask for whatever assumption you are making. And so it does not mean that you have to be very suspicious that this data is hallucinated data, right? So it's perfectly fine if you are not writing so many constraints, but it is necessary when you think that this data can be hallucinated.
We
okay,
need
it's
not
only trial and error.
preempt.
Yeah.
We need not preempt what this is what you're saying.
I'm sorry, we did not.
We need not preempt, I said.
Yes, we need not preempt, correct. But if you feel that this kind of data can be hallucinated data, or I told you like it is an over explanation or very neat explanation, no edge cases, right? Then you can think that this is a hallucinated response. Sometimes you say that will I be able to do this? So it will say that certainly you will be able to do this. You will be this. Maybe I do not have that thing. I cannot do, but still it will respond with yes, you can. So it always does it with positive responses. So this is also kind of hallucination when it will always respond you positively. So these are
All right.
you should keep in mind that this can be a hallucinated, that you will understand by the response that if it is a hallucinated response or not.
Yeah, Shivraj, usually, when does it hallucinate? It will not hallucinate while giving you a summary, while making minutes of the meeting, okay, while writing an email. It will not do these hallucinations. It will do hallucinations when you specifically ask it to judge, evaluate, yeah. So when you ask its opinion,
Right.
when you ask it to think like a human being, that is when the maximum chances of hallucination are likely, right? So you keep it in mind that yes, I am going to ask such and such questions. See, if you are going to ask AI to create a strategy, so again here there might be hallucinations, right? So and when you think that yes, there is a chance that the answer could be hallucinated, yes, there are a couple of sentences. I think Vartika, you could tell actually what can be added when you think. What sentences can be added? Ki yes. Now there is we fairly know कि हाँ भाई अभी AI अभी इधर कुछ तो छापने वाला है. So what is the kind of sentences that we can add? That please, like I usually say, AI, please do not hallucinate. Simple.
Okay. I
I
think
don't know, does it work? Vartika, will it work if I do?
I think that I wasn't very clear on those particular slides where I took the break. I would like to revisit those slides and
Yeah,
explain.
if you could, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So now suppose you want AI not to assume things, right? So you directly say you do not assume the intent, purpose, cause, impact, or compliance. This forms opinions in AI's mind. So if it assumes something, so you do not want it to assume, you do not want it to fill the gaps. If there is something missing, you want AI to respond that this is missing. You do not want it to fill all those gaps. If the question depends upon the information not provided, then respond with cannot answer. Okay, you are instructing AI not to assume things and respond with I cannot answer with this limited information. So obviously you will either provide that information or you will understand this is not a hallucinated response. Okay, so write those strict rules that do not assume these particular things. Okay, and just respond that you cannot answer with this limited information. That is the thing that you can mitigate hallucination. Then role defined, yes, like I told you, that you can act as a skeptical compliance reviewer, but not a content generator. What happens that sometimes when AI generates the response, it does not care about a particular thing. You obviously you want it to define a role, right? But still it is working on predictions, right? So it still generates answers. It's yes, it mitigates that you are defining a specific role to it, but still it will act as a predictor, right? So it does predict. So you have to specifically mention that do not act as a content generator. Okay, and do not infer your intent, effectiveness, outcomes. Do not evaluate, praise, or criticize. Do not add examples or explanations. If a claim cannot be supported directly from the text, state not supported by the provided information. So here we have defined it a role, and we have also said that you have to provide that this cannot be, so that this is not supported by the particular information. So here role and what you have to become and what you don't have to become.
So Vartika, if you could just go back here. So say suppose so we have taken an example of the new labor codes which have come, 4 new labor codes, right? And there isn't much information on it as now because they are very new. So if I want to write something on it, and so I need to tell all these things, right? That you are a skeptical compliance reviewer, is it?
Yeah.
While writing the code, while writing the prompt. Okay, and I should not infer intent, effectiveness, and outcome of the. Okay, and I should be writing all these statements so that it does not give me false information and it
Yes.
does not hallucinate.
Yes,
Okay.
because that is how we can tell the AI what to do and what not to do, because otherwise
Okay.
it assumes
It does not know. Okay. And a slide before that, before this. Okay, so respond to the question below using only information explicitly stated in the input. Okay, so I also need to tell that we should not fill any missing details or not fill gaps, and if you do not know the answer, you can answer cannot answer. I need to tell that also, right?
Yes.
Okay, okay, fine. So instead of the shortcut that I take, AI, please do not hallucinate. This will give me a better response. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks. This has helped a lot.
So now you can also have an explicit stop condition wherein you say that if this is some data is missing, or you are assuming something, or it depends upon some external facts, then stop immediately. Respond that this is insufficient information and I want more information, or either provide me more information or just stop there. So this happens when you explicitly want it to stop. You don't even want any other answer. You just want it to stop. Then do not attempt partial answers. You don't want it to attempt anything. Do not guess or approximate. You do not reframe the question to make it answerable. Okay, so this is a stop condition. You don't do anything further. No storytelling and accuracy first, where we can use it in medical terms. By the way, medical and law and these things should not be asked by AI. It might do anything. So you need to be very careful with that. But suppose you are using it for some accuracy first things, then provide a response focused strictly on factual reporting, not narrative or explanation. Over here, still, when you mentioned factual reporting, it's not necessary that it actually gives you a factual report. Okay, so it should be it requires a human judgment. So it is very important. Do not storytell. Do not give any background or create any narrative flow. You don't want a story because you want actual factual answer. So you don't want a story. You do not explain motivation, intent, causes unless explicitly stated in the input. Do not use illustrative language, analogies, or examples. It might generate a different example. Your content or your intent was something else, and the example that it gave is something else. You might get confused. Use plain, neutral, factual language only. If the information cannot be stated factually, respond with cannot state this accurately based on the provided info. So this is how you can control the responses of AI.
I hope Shivraj, you got your answer.
Yeah.
What to
So
add,
thank you
what
so
not
much. I
to add.
think, yeah, definitely. I think this is what will be going to the prompt. I think part of the prompt. I think that will
Yes,
help in
yes.
defining this response.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
One last question regarding that tokens. When you were talking about the availability, when you gave the example, so availability, the spelling available does not come right in that. How does that token take availability?
Yes. No, available. When you are talking about available, okay,
The
then
second one, availability.
I'm telling you. Now, suppose if you have written the word available or you have written the word ability separately, then they are tokens in their separate terms. But when you are writing available or availability, then available appears a lot of times. So this becomes one token. AT also appears a lot of times. So it can be reused in many different ways. So when you can use, these are actually tokens. These are text chunks that can be used in many ways. So available can be used in many ways. This is available, this is something. So available appears a lot of times in every domain probably. Then it also appears a lot of times. So these are two different tokens. Unavailable, available appears a lot of times. Also appears a lot of times. So that is why avail and able are separately, they are different tokens. But when you're talking about available, then it is one particular token because available appears more often than avail and able.
Okay, so it's not necessary that word should be complete. Even it will take it as a complete. Like availability does not have available word, but still AI will take it like it
Yes.
based
Yes.
on a. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. I think it was very informative.
Thank you.
So thanks a lot, guys. Enjoy your Sunday. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye,
Any other
thank you.
questions? Yeah. Any other questions? You can go ahead. If there are no more questions, we'll be stopping the session. There are links in the chat box. There are links to our website. There are links. There are also YouTube links wherein you can go and check our other webinars. There are 2 other webinars on prompt engineering. Please go and check them out. They're both by Vartika and they are extremely good webinars. Please go ahead and check a lot of information there. We also have a lot of other stuff. So you can go and check out the YouTube link. YouTube link is in the chat box. Also, our website is on the chat box. Go and check it out. A LinkedIn page is also there in the chat box. If it's not there, we are repasting it. We also have a WhatsApp group which you can join to get a lot of curated nuggets of information on AI. If there are no other questions, we'd like to take leave. Happy Sunday, and enjoy your Mahashivratri. Bam Bhole. See you all. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye,
Bye.
Vartika. Awesome session. Thank you so much.
Thank you.